Good afternoon. We are here today to provide updates and information of the district's action steps as it relates to COVID-19. We have here today Dr. Collier, who is our Director of Student Services, Ms. Trina Smith, who is the Director of our Special Education Department, as well as Dr. Lee, who is Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. We will begin our presentation today hearing from Dr. Collier.
Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Harrison Collier, Director of Student Services. It is my pleasure to provide you with some key information that is available to you on our district webpage, along with some other information that will be posted in the coming hours. This information for you is located on the main page of our district website. When you go to the website, you're going to look for the updates and information that are associated with COVID-19, known as the coronavirus. This information is updated daily, so we strongly encourage you to seek out this information, to educate yourself, and to provide feedback to faculty, other faculty members, to parents, and our stakeholders. This information provides updates on the district's actions regarding particular areas that may be of concern to you and others in our community. The information that's associated with this page will provide you with updates regarding our response for attendance for both staff and students, symptoms and the use of masks and other health concerns, the response by maintenance, nutrition, and transportation, our decision regarding school closings, the expectations for instructions, and Dr. Lee and Mrs. Smith will review some information shortly regarding that, the enrollment of new students, and I am going to spend some additional time in that particular area, our response regarding athletic events, field trips, and other school events. It's also important that you take special notes to additional resources and tips. This information regarding resources and tips is directly from the CDC and other national healthcare organizations. This information is provided to keep you informed and up to date because we want a healthy, thriving community in Clayton County Public Schools. So first of all, let me direct your attention to some information that is available for you from the health end. We encourage you at all times to practice preventive measures. As educators, as those of you that are interacting with each other and in our classrooms, we ask that you refrain from the use of masks unless it is medically necessary. If you're wearing a mask, that is an indication that you're not well. And if you're not well, the district's expectation is that you remove yourself from the learning environment until you're feeling better. Also, we will be looking for key symptoms as it relates to the virus. Our healthcare techs in all of our schools have been trained and equipped to look for those signs related to fever of 100.4, cough, and shortness of breath. When students or staff are presented to them that have these symptoms, they have a response protocol that will be put in place to help keep the entire community healthy. We asked you, if you experience a student in your classroom that's coughing or a staff member, refer them to our healthcare tech so that they can be seen and it's determined whether it's anything beyond a simple cold, realizing that we are still in cold and flu season. And you will see these symptoms, but we want to make sure that students and staff are referred to healthcare professionals to get the help and the support they need to be healthy, thriving individuals. I want to now direct your attention to some important information related to enrollments. This quick reference guide provides information on the district's response regarding students that are enrolling and returning from high-risk countries, from other states, and in particular, counties within the state of Georgia. I first want to emphasize that all new enrollments will still be, of international students, will be channeled through our International Center. They have a protocol in place and practices that will continue, and they will be on special alert for individuals that are enrolling from these designated countries. And I want to point your attention, and this list is as of 3/9. And I want you to realize this information changes daily and sometimes hourly. So that's why we encourage you to please take a look at the district webpage daily. Make sure that you are clicking on the links that are provided to us by the CDC. These links will direct you to maps and information of affected areas and countries and other regions in the U.S. So your countries that we are on alert for includes China, South Korea, Italy, Iran, Japan, and Hong Kong. Those states that are on the CDC list at this time includes, these are your top 8, those that have double digits of concerns in the states: California, Washington State, New York, Massachusetts, Florida, Oregon, and Georgia. In the state of Georgia, we have counties that are of concern, and I will provide information to you regarding our action steps for students enrolling from these counties. Fulton County, Cherokee, Cobb, Polk, and Gwinnett are counties that have been designated as having individuals that have been diagnosed with the coronavirus. I do want to emphasize at this time, Clayton County Public School has no diagnoses of this virus at this time, nor does Clayton County. We are in constant contact with our Board of Health to ensure that we are providing you with the most up-to-date information regarding COVID-19 and if there are any outbreaks in our county in the surrounding area. So we ask that you be patient with us as we work collaboratively with our external stakeholders to provide you with key information. I want to direct your attention now to students enrolling in the district that are returning from trips, international trips, from those designated countries. There are 2 key questions that your front office personnel will ask. First of all, they're going to ask the family or the student if the student or any family member living in the household has traveled to any of those impacted countries within the last 14 days. I do want you to keep in mind that individuals that travel to these countries must either be quarantined or self-quarantined for 14 days following the stamp that is on their passport. So let me go in a little further to help you understand this. If the answer to this question is yes, proof of entry through the U.S. airport, that means a stamped passport must be presented by the individual. If they don't have that with them at the time, we're asking them to provide us with that information electronically. We will advise parents, guardian, that depending on the travel history, the student may be asked to stay at home for a period of 14 days from the time they left the area with widespread or ongoing community concerns. It's important, again, to keep in mind that that 14-day time frame from the time that passport is stamped is key in terms of students returning to us that have visited these countries. That is the period of quarantine. The second question, have you been quarantined or self-quarantined, and for how many days? It must be the 14 days that they either are quarantined or self-quarantined to return to school or to enroll in school. And again, we will ask for proof of travel history of those individuals that are returning to us from international travel. The next point is when individuals are enrolling from affected states, keep in mind those states that I discussed from the CDC and counties in Georgia. Refer to that list of states. You ask the question, have you been exposed to a person who has traveled or returned from one of the affected states or counties in Georgia? If yes, the student will need to be isolated and examined by a health tech for possible symptoms of the virus. Through consultation with our Board of Health, we will make decisions as to next steps. The important piece is students will be isolated or possibly asked to leave campus until we can get confirmation from our Board of Health to assist us in making appropriate decisions. This is the next item we want you to keep in mind. If a student from one of the impacted schools in Fulton County, those being Woodland Middle, Bear Creek Middle, or Creekside High, enroll or present themselves for enrollment between March 9th and March 23rd, they must wait 14 days, that 14 days quarantine period, to be entered into active enrollment. And again, we will follow the guidance of the Board of Health in terms of our actions and reactions to cases that we discuss with them. The important thing to keep in mind, if a student attends school with one of the three symptoms, again, a fever of 101.4, they're coughing, they have breathing or in respiratory distress, staff and individuals will need to stay home. That is important. We want everyone healthy. We want you to practice good health habits, washing your hands, fist pumping, arm bumping. Keep those things in mind, and we promise you we will have a healthy, thriving community. Up next is Dr. Lee, who will discuss our approach, and Ms. Smith regarding instructions.
Greetings, educators. I am Dr. Ebony Lee, the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. And today I will share with you the actions we're taking to extend learning beyond the physical classroom. We know, educators, that in the event that we have to extend school closure, that you want our scholars to continue learning. So I'll share with you 3 specific actions that we're taking so that you can use both digital and hard copy resources. So step 1, teachers, please go ahead and create a Google Classroom and make sure that all of your students are assigned in the classroom and can access it from home. If you need any assistance with using and setting up your Google Classroom, each school has a technology liaison, and he or she can assist you with making sure it's set up properly. Step 2, we need to practice. So we ask that within the next 48 hours that you post at least one announcement and assignment and require our scholars to access it and submit at home. This will allow you to know 2 things. 1, which students have access to digital resources at home, but also 2, if our students are savvy enough to use the Google Classroom. And based on this information, you can plan accordingly. And number 3, teachers, we want you to create and communicate a list of assignments that our students can use with their hard copy textbooks. So go ahead and get our students in the habit of taking their textbooks home so that when we have, or if we have, extended school closure, they can access these resources while at home. Teachers, please send a list of assignments home with students by this Friday, March 12th, as a precaution, and please prepare at least 10 school days of instructional assignments. Some other important considerations, teachers, I want you to prioritize what students are already familiar with. So we have an array of online resources that they use regularly. This first link takes you to the Georgia DOE GMAT study guides. So in preparation for the upcoming Georgia milestones, our students can go through those study guides while at home using their online device. Also, some other examples would include our science STEM scopes, which students in grades K through 12 have access to. We have our Studies Weekly, our Ready, Achieve 3000. So those are programs that are readily accessible in the portal. Now, in terms of hard copies, we have textbooks that are one-to-one distribution, and we have an array of consumables in which students can write. And some examples would be the iReady reading, Ready books for reading and math. And students in elementary and middle schools have access to those print materials. So again, use what they're already familiar with. Some final important considerations, principals and teams. Please ensure your parents and your students are very aware of these extending learning beyond the physical classroom expectations. You may consider posting this information on your home school's website so that it can be there readily accessible for our stakeholders. Teachers, while most assignments may be self-explanatory and students can complete them independently, you may consider posting videos or tutorials that provide explanations for hard to understand concepts. And I know some of you are already savvy at flipping your classroom. So if you want to flip your classroom, utilize Google Hangouts, that is also suggested, just not required. And for our students who may have limited access to the internet, our headquarters public library, they provide hotspots. So our patrons just need to have a library card, and they'll be able to go into our headquarters library to check out those devices. And I've included a link in this document. And please know this entire document can be accessible at tinyurl/CCPS Continues Learning 2020. So before we conclude, I would like for our Director of the Department of Exceptional Students, Ms. Trina Smith, to come up and talk about how we're making extended learning beyond the classroom accessible for all students. So at this time, I'm going to have Ms. Smith share, and then I'll come back and close us out for today.
I'm Trina Smith, the Director of the Department of Exceptional Students. It's important to note that as you are working in the online platform, students with special needs will also be served through all of our online learning environment and through our online learning plan. Just as teachers would adjust any assignment in a regular classroom and assign individual students differentiated assignments, adjust individual assignments, modify and accommodate, they will do the same thing in an online platform by assigning varied assignments and adjusting the way that things are assigned. So make sure that as you are assigning your classroom and providing differentiation, you're encouraged to do the same thing in your Google Classroom. Accommodations can be provided through a variety of tools. We have a variety of online tools readily available through support, extensions, all kinds of online tools that are available right now in your Google Classroom, as well as through our assistive technology department. Make sure that you're versed in this information so that all add-ons can be available for the students with disabilities. These items should be made available at all times through our online learning platform in the event of any kind of extended closure and readily available on a regular basis.
So educators, just like we make accommodations for our special ed students, we also ensure that we are following the learning plans of our English learners so that all students have access to the learning. So in closing, I want to share with you the extending learning beyond the classroom expectations that you can share on your school websites, your individual classroom websites, but it will also be posted on our Clayton County home website. Students should access their teachers' announcements and assignments in the Google Classroom via the portal that they regularly log into, and I've included the link here. Also, students will bring home a list of assignments along with hard copy resources. To access the portal, each student has personalized credentials that they use on a regular basis. There are no additional credentials that are needed to access the Google Classroom or the online learning materials. And then for additional instructional supports, such as our Georgia Milestone Study Guides, students can use the following link that's located at the Clayton County website. Thank you for your attention, and we hope we've addressed many of your questions and provided you with the support you need as we prepare to extend learning beyond the classroom. Thank you.